All right, I'm gonna go live on everywhere since I haven't been on in so long. All right, there we go. I got a decent amount of light. Now my light right here is not real good. All right, let's see. Let's do it that way. Okay, that's a better angle. I'm trying to get this light together, y'all. Sorry. It's been a minute since I've been on, and I am at home, and I kind of normally used to go live at my office. But we're going to roll with it. Let me make sure my sound is up. Let's make sure my sound is up to capacity. Let's see who's on this Friday evening. Are y'all out partying at the club? Or are you at home on this Friday night getting yourself together, getting your action plan together, your game plan together? So we just gonna see. One of my clients bought me this, and I think this is so hilarious. I gotta show y'all this. I gotta show y'all this little gadget. I gotta show y'all this little gadget that my client bought me. So my client said, I don't play no games. I be talking shit. So this a little pen they bought me. It works and everything. I thought this was so hilarious. Like, I thought this was so hilarious. I'm like, the pen, I haven't even used it as a pen. They just gave it to me yesterday. But I thought this was so hilarious, y'all. They told me whenever I'm online to do this, y'all start getting on my nerves. Hilarious. I just thought this was too funny. I have never seen a shit pen. Like a karate. He's got a karate outfit on, actually. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. It's 10:30 at night. So the people who are up like me on this Friday night, usually you all are thinking, right? Planning, up studying, right? Thinking of a master plan. These are the people that are up on a Friday night at 10:30. That's not outside. Let's just say that, because we know a lot of people are outside right now, especially in Chicago, trying to get that last, that last bit of summer weather in. So I know people are out. Some of you all are out. Then some of us are at home thinking of a master plan, okay? Some of y'all are out here like me, thinking of a master plan. Always thinking of a master plan. But I'm late. I wanted to come on a little bit earlier, but I forgot I had class tonight. So here we are at 10 o'clock at night, okay? But I know that eventually we'll get a couple of people dragging on in to say hello, good evening, good evening, good evening. So I wanted to still jump on anyway. You all can always catch the replay of these lives for whatever I decide to go over and discuss tonight. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about tonight is Friday. So what I used to do is Friday, when I was really coming on here on the internet, Friday, we would call it Finance Friday, right? So Finance Friday is a topic that I would talk about something financial, right? And one of the things that I have shared with you all that I recently did was get the deed on the property that I own filed with the county, right? And then I saw a post, or I saw a it was a post. I saw a post about JAYZ and Beyonce pulling out what was like $53 million out of their California home, right? So I wanted to talk about that a little bit tonight, right? Because when I first saw the post, this was probably a minute ago. This was a while ago that I saw the post. Let's just say within the last couple of months, right? I think I saw that post that of them pulling out the funds of their California home. Or I could look it up real quick just so I can make sure. Hold on. With the time frame, JAYZ and Beyonce pull out 50. I think it was $53 million. So this is a great topic for Finance Friday because, okay, yep, it was recent. Oh no, that wasn't recent. Oh, yes, it was July 4th. There we go. So it was July 4th is when I saw this. Reportedly, they've taken out a $57.75 million mortgage on their mansion in Belair. Right. That brings their total borrowing on the property to $110 million. They first purchased the property in 2017 for $88 million. They kept it. They decided to buy another California home for $200 million in 2023. So now they have another 30-year loan with 5% interest rate for the 10 years. They took out a 30-year mortgage for $52.8 million with Goldman Sachs at a 3.15% interest rate, which comes out to about $226,000. Now, I don't know. This says hotnewhiphop.com. I'm not familiar with this website, but I want to talk about them how they did that, right? Because that's the whole point of me making this kind of video or talking about this topic for Finance Friday, right? So what was funny to me was how people were commenting and trying to talk about, um, how they may be pressed for money, or how they may be, the look, the comment, the internet, like, loves to talk about people who usually are doing better than you, right? We just gonna call it the internet crew. That's what I love. The internet keyboard typers, right? So I always go straight to the comments. So I went straight to the comments, and I wanted to see what the internet keyboard typers was talking. And there they was, right? Oh, they must be losing this, or they must be losing that, or if she on tour, why she need to borrow money? And this is why we have to have these conversations on financial literacy, right? About financial literacy, these different topics, because I was a little flabbergasted with some of the comments that I saw, but not necessarily, right? So I just randomly kind of brought this topic up tonight because I wanted to figure out what to talk about tonight, because I had so many things on my mind. But I figured this would be a good one to start with. So the fact of Jay-Z and Beyonce borrowing, let's just say, because what you all have to understand is they're borrowing against their equity on their property, right? And this is the value of having real estate, land, real estate, property, but real estate more than ever, right? That's an actual building, whether it's a residential house, commercial, whether it's a multi-unit. But this is the value of when you own real estate, right? And this is kind of what I want to break down, because them borrowing that $50 million, and literally in this one, I don't know how true this is. I'm reading this article that they have on here, but what it states is that they originally that they purchased the Belair mansion for $88 million in 2017, right? Now, let's just go with that. If they purchased this in 2017 for 88 million, and then they were recently able in 2025 to pull out 53, we're just going to round it up to 53. It was 52.7, basically. We're just going to round it up. It was 57.75 million. Sorry. So we're just going to say, we're just going to round it up. We're just going to round it to 57. It's really almost 58 million, but we're just going to round it to 57, right? But think about this. If they got that property and purchased it back then in 2017 for 88 million, and then now in 2025, they were able to pull out $57 million. Why and how did they do that? Did you hear what I said their interest rate was? They have the loan with Goldman Sachs at a 3 point, again, don't quote me, 3.15%. That's what this article is saying, but we can roll with that, right? Now, if you had a property and you were able to go and pull the equity out and borrow against it, wouldn't you do the same thing? That's actually very smart what they're doing, right? That's actually very, very smart what they're doing. Let me let them know I'm going to call them back. Hold on, y'all. Very, very smart what they're doing. And this is the reason why we have to start having more of these conversations, because it really bothered me seeing people on the internet kind of laughing at them or trying to talk about them, right? And they don't understand the concept, right? So again, that's the value when you buy property, right? When you buy property, normally, right? Normally that property is going to increase. It's going to increase in value. It's rare that you buy property and it decreases in value, right? So the whole point is, when you have property and there is equity available, this is the other thing. It is a tax strategy. It is actually tax-free money. Okay? So whereas some of you all, if you get in a jam and you want to go to the bank and you say, oh, I need a loan, I need to do this or I need to do that, right? Those of you, prime example, let's say this. Let's say you're a renter. Okay? Those of you who are renting, you can't borrow against your apartment because someone else owns that apartment. You get what I'm saying? So we have to have these conversations on why it's important to own, why it's important for you to own property, why it's important for you to get a multi-unit. In today's world, I wouldn't tell nobody to buy a single family home, especially if it's your first property. Knowing what I know now, I would not tell any of my clients to buy a single family home. A single family home, your first home is not really the first way you should be investing, right? We're taught the wrong way in American society, in American system. American system tells you go to school, get an education, buy a car, buy a house, and that's your dream life, right? But the reality is all of that is just another bill. Your home, your dwelling, your apartment is a bill. It's not an asset right now. It's not making you money because you're living in it, right? Assets are actually items that are making you money, right? And yes, an asset can still be your real estate. Your single family house can be an asset, but is it truly an asset to you because you're living in it? So you're really not reaping the benefits of that asset. You get what I'm saying? Unless, let's say in this case, let's say you did like JAYZ and Beyonce. You bought the property, but you knew the property had potential equity to grow in, right? So in their case, they bought that property in 2017 for 88 million. And then this year, they were able to pull out $57 million of that equity. And so when I say pull that out, that means they went and got a loan, right, from Goldman Sachs at a 3% interest rate. 3.1%. Okay, for $58 million. Now, let's also say this. That is a tax deduction because they will not be taxed on that 57. We was rounding it up because it was 57.75. So we just rounded it up to 57 million, right? But the thing is they pulled that money out and they will not be taxed on that money. So that's the other benefit of real estate, right? Is when you have property and you pull the equity out. And this is the difference from selling the property. And this is why I tell some people, like, why are you selling the property? If it's an asset, if it can make you money, if the equity could still grow, why are you selling it, right? So the thing would be to keep the property. And then what you do is you borrow against it. Because it's a big difference from when you're selling. When you sell property, you have to pay capital gains on that. You pay taxes on that. All right. Unless it's your primary residence, then that's a different story. But if it's an investment property and you sell it, you're paying taxes on that. Unless you are using some type of tax strategy, right? And there are several strategies that you can use. But the difference is when you have a home, whether it's your personal dwelling or whether it's an investment, and you do a line of credit, like what they probably did was a home equity line of credit. Okay. So it's either a home equity line of credit or a home equity loan. It's two different ones you could do. I want to say theirs might be a loan because it says on here their loan and interest rate is a 3.15%. But to me, that could also be a line of credit because a line of credit, usually the interest rate is lower than what the loan rate would be, right? So either one. You can do it as a loan or a line of credit. The line of credit allows you to draw it down as you need it. The loan is going to give you a fixed dollar amount, right? So let's say if they took out the loan, which it looks like they may have done, just a straight loan for 57.75 million with a fixed interest rate and a fixed monthly payment, right? Some people like to do that. But some people want it as a line of credit because maybe you don't need all of the money right now, right? Maybe they didn't need $58 million. They got stuff going on. So they needed that right there, right? They needed that to invest that into whatever they're going to do. But the other thing that I like about the home equity and the reason why they did it that way. So instead of people being on the internet talking about, oh, Jay-Z and Beyonce need some money, they didn't need the money. They're strategizing and they're utilizing that money. And I'm sure they're investing that money into other things that's going to make them more money. And that's the difference between the rich and people with a poor mentality, right? You can be poor and turn yourself into being a rich person. You can grow up in the hood, you can grow up in the community, but if you're learning what it takes to live in America, and this is why I'm having this conversation with y'all. If you live in the United States of America, this is the type of stuff that they do not teach in your education system, right? Tax laws, deductions, things like that, credit, taxes, money. You don't learn that in the American system. And it's a reason why you don't learn it, because you're in this system is made for you to stay stuck. It's not made to help you. Okay? It's not made to help you at all. It's made for you to stay stuck in this system. So you have to learn these type of things, what we're talking about tonight. So like I said, the value of having real estate is normally it grows, right? I even shared that with my property. The property that I purchased, one of the properties that I purchased it. No, I'm gonna use my family house for as the example. So I purchased the property, and at that year, that property was worth about 99,000, right? The last time I checked, I haven't checked that property what the value is over there right now. But the last time I checked, it was up to 195. At the end of last year, it got up to about 235,000. That's because they were selling houses left and right over there, right? So your equity could fluctuate, but I've only had that property for 4 years, and I'm up almost an additional $100,000 in equity. You get what I'm saying? That's the difference with real estate. So if I wanted to, and that's actually my goal and my plan, now that my deed is actually filed with the county, right? Now I can go and pull that equity out of that property, and I can invest that money and buy another property. I can buy land. That's the beautiful thing too when you do a home equity line of credit. They can't tell you what to do with that money. You can do whatever you want to do with that money, even though it's a home equity loan, right? We say it's a home equity loan, so people automatically assume that you have to spend the money on your house, or you have to spend the money on fixing up your house, and that's not true. That's the other beautiful thing with real estate, right? With a home equity line of credit, you can draw that line of credit down, you can pull that money out, and if you need to pay your kids' college fund, you can do that. If you need to buy you another car, you can do that. If you need to, I'm not gonna say go on a vacation, because to me, whenever you pulling money out, it should always be a strategy and an action plan and a game plan, and you should have a reason why you're pulling this money out and to be using that money for specific things, right? So I'm not gonna say to go on vacation. All right, we're not gonna say that. You're gonna use that money definitely to be put into something else that's gonna make you more money. You know what I mean? So those are some of the benefits of understanding real estate, understanding why you want to own land and property, especially in the Black community, because we are really down in home ownership. I don't even have the statistics here in front of me, but they're low. Okay, I'm gonna say that we're one of the lowest communities that are actually buying and purchasing, right? And that's a problem. That's a major problem. It's a huge problem. And so we have to start having these conversations about real estate and why it's important for you to own. You cannot just be a renter your whole life. It doesn't make any sense, right? Especially for those of you all who have kids. I really don't understand some of y'all mindset and some of y'all thinking, because the whole point of being on this earth is to give the next generation a level up. The whole point of being here is to build and make this world and community better, right? So the children and the grandchildren that you're leaving here, don't you want them to be set up? Don't you want them to be in a better financial situation than how you came in, how your mama came in, how your grandparents came in? So the whole point of this is to grow. And we always talk about generational wealth, but what are you all doing to actually make sure that you're leaving that? You get what I mean? And let me also say this. If you are on government assistance, let's say a program like Section 8. Did you all know Section 8 has a housing program? The same way that they pay, I don't know what they pay y'all rent, 90%, 95%. The same way they pay your rent 90%, 95%, they will pay your mortgage. They will pay your mortgage that exact same dollar amount. So there's really no excuse at this point, right? Because I've heard that in the past from people. Oh, well, I'm on a fixed income or I'm on assistance. Well, no, Section 8 has a home buyer program. If you didn't know this, Section 8 has a home buyer program. All right. In the state of Illinois, I have several lenders that actually offers it. In other states, I can't tell you, but you should look it up. If you are in any state, every state should offer it because it's a Section 8 program. It's a federal government program. Okay. So you just have to figure out in your state what banks, what lenders offer that particular program. But if you are on Section 8, you can buy a property. You can have a mortgage. And that would make a lot more sense for you to get a mortgage than for you to be renting from someone for 10, 15, 20 years. Because guess what? You paid for their building. You paid for their building. You paid for somebody else's property and building when you could have had your own. And so that's why I said, knowing what I know now, I would have never bought a single family house. I wish I would have had this conversation more with my aunt, but I was just learning real estate back then, right? But I bought a single family house. I didn't need a single family house. It was just me and my dog. I didn't need a house. I could have bought a 3 flat. I would have bought, knowing what I know now, and that's what I tell my young single females who are thinking about getting into property and buying property. I tell them, do not buy a single family house. You don't need it. You don't need it. And then this is the rebuttal that some people say. Well, I don't want to be a landlord. Okay, so let's stop right now. Let's have a conversation. Because the other problem is when it comes to sacrifice and building, it's not always about what you want. All right. It's not always about what you want. It's about what makes the most sense. It's about, can I pass this down? Is this going to leave some type of legacy? All right. And is this going to make me some money? I need y'all to start thinking like that. Okay. Because I hate when people say, well, I don't want to be a tenant. I don't want to be a landlord. Okay. I understand that. Right. Just stay with me. Now, if you buy a 3-unit building, you are only required to live in it for 1 year. Okay? After that 1 year, you can move out of that apartment and rent that sucker out. So now you have 3 units paying you versus 2 units paying you. But what this is going to do is this is going to allow that asset that you claim that you have to really be an asset. Because in today's world, buying your home and having a car note is not an asset. Okay? It's not. They told you wrong. They taught you wrong in the American society and the American school system. Okay? Now, is it an asset? Yes. But technically, it's not really an asset if it's not making you money. right? Your house itself, your dwelling that you live in is not necessarily going to be an asset for you until you sell it. That's when you actually are going to make some money from it. But right now, it's a bill for you. Your mortgage payment, your rent payment, that's another bill. Your car note, that's another bill, right? So what we have to do is get in front of people like me, right? Who can reprogram your mind from the way American society has taught you and learn and get into my community and understand what I teach you, which is what school won't teach you. That's the name of my community. It's called What School Won't Teach You. And this is what we talk about, right? Because technically we are taught the wrong way in our culture and in our country. We're taught the wrong way. Everything is a bill. And this is why so many people are struggling. This is why so many people are house poor, as I like to call it, because some people have very nice houses, but then you all have no clue how they are struggling to pay that mortgage. Okay, because it's a bill, right? And then in some cities, counties, and states, if your taxes go up, your mortgage payment goes up. Like in Cook County, right? They tried to raise our taxes by $300 million. But we had fighters, we had protesters, we had people down there arguing and going against the city. And that is the reason why the city of Chicago and Cook County itself, not just the city of Chicago, but why Cook County did not receive a $300 million tax bill last year was because we had real leaders, real protesters down there going against them and telling them hell to the no. All right. Because a $300 million tax increase would have broken a lot of our seniors. It would have taken them under. If your grandmother is on a fixed income and she only bringing in $2,000 a month, some people tax bill went up to $2,000. Some people tax bill was $2,000, $4,000, $5,000, $8,000 a month. And some of those in far suburbs, their taxes went up like 80 bands. Like that's crazy. Right? So people in Cook County had to really go through and appeal and break out this whole thing and put the story out there in the news for them to actually investigate, and now they're saying that, oh, it was some glitches or whatever, but that happens, right? And this is a part of the reason why you have to know what's going on in your city, in your community, in your county, because these type of things affect you, your parents, your grandparents, right? And you may not necessarily be paying attention to it, but it's definitely affecting you. Deidre says, don't totally agree. Depends where you buy your home. If you buy it in the right place, it can appraise and you can sell it. Yeah, you don't have to agree, right? That's the whole point of having this conversation. And at the end of the day, your house is still not necessarily a asset until you sell it. And that's what I was saying. Your regular house and your regular car note is not an asset for you unless you sell it. Other than that, it's a monthly bill and expense. So you have to start looking at things a different way. Either you're going to start off with an investment property, and the investment property is going to make you money and bring you money. Now you can go and buy your house that you want to live in. But we're taught to buy your personal dwelling, your primary dwelling first. And that's what I was saying. We're taught to buy your primary and personal dwelling first. We're taught to buy your car and all of that stuff first. But what you aren't paying attention to is that's now a bill. That is now a part of coming out of your salary. So the way that the wealthy do, the way that people who have an investor's mindset, people who understand the American system, people who understand the tax code, right? Or people who work with people like me, who is a tax and business strategist, who knows the tax code, and we're able to explain this to you. Those people, those are the ones who are succeeding more. Those are the ones who are in that top 1 to 10% because they understand that. Your personal house and dwelling is not an asset directly in the beginning unless you sell it, until you sell it. All right. But some people are sitting on 30-year mortgages and they're struggling. But if you had another option, or you had someone tell you, just like I said, when I bought my first house, I was 27. I was single with no kids, with a dog. I didn't need a single family home. That really didn't make sense for me. It made more sense for me to do what I'm saying to do now, which is why I tell my younger female clients, no, baby, you don't need a house. You don't need a condo right away. You want to get you a 3-unit or a 4-unit. And then I explain to them why they may want to do something like that. And then it's up to them to make their decision. Right? Now, if you want a house, you want a house. That's on you. But I'm going to tell you the better way to do things versus doing something that I did 14 years ago, and it didn't make no sense to do that because it just was another bill. That house wasn't making me no money. And that's what we need to train our mindset from. You don't need a house. You need a place to live. You need a place to sleep. You need a place to lay your head at night. You don't necessarily need a house, especially as a single woman or a man. Right? If you don't have a family, you don't necessarily need that. So the other option, there's options out here. When you get approved for that, whatever you get approved for, when you go and apply for a mortgage, that same mortgage can be used for a 3 to 4 unit building. That's what this is called. This is called education and enlightenment. I'm not on here to talk and think about how you're normally taught in American society. That's the whole point of me doing this live, is to teach you opposite. I teach you what school won't teach you. That's what my community is. My online community is named What School Won't Teach You, because I'm teaching you to think differently. And of course, everybody's mindset gonna be different. It's a matter of where you at in life. But if you had somebody that was able to tell you early on in your 20s, hey, you don't need to do that. Go get you a 3-unit building. Go get you a 4-unit building. So now those other units are paying for your mortgage. If your mortgage is 2 bands and you got a 3-unit building and you can charge $2,000 each unit, that's $6,000. $4,000 your first year. Because remember, I said you normally have to stay in the property the first year. After that, you can move around. So that's exactly what I'm putting my god baby in. My god baby is 23. We are in the process of her looking for a 3-unit building. She doesn't need a condo. That's what I told her. You don't need a condo. You need a 3-unit building or a 4-unit building. You're going to live in one of those apartments and you're going to rent out the other 2. And so that $2,000 mortgage is paid for by those 2 units. So now if she wants to pay her $2,000, she could, but she's not. She's going to put that $2,000 in an investment account. She's going to save her money. So she's going to flip that $2,000 instead of her paying rent or mortgage. That's what she's going to do. She's going to invest her $2,000. And she's still up, because the mortgage is only $2,000, right? So if you were able to rent it out, you were able to rent out 2 of the units at $2,000 each. That's $4,000 of income. If your mortgage is $2,000, she may have to pay the water bill, right? But most people pay their own light and gas today. That's an asset. That is what you call income producing. That is an income producing investment property. That is the mindset and how you want to be moving in today's world. If you want to increase your money. Again, it's all on you and your mindset and what you want to do. Now, if you got a family and you all need a place to stay, again, why buy one single family unit? If you can buy a 3 or 4 unit building, not each of you. If it's 3 of you, if you got you and 3 sisters or you and 3 brothers, it doesn't make any sense for y'all to buy one single family house. It makes way more sense for you to buy a 3-unit property, 3 to 4 unit property. Exactly, Kalia. Thank you. That's exactly what I'm saying. If you knew something like this, you would have done that, correct? All right. So I don't need y'all to get on here and talk about what you disagree with. You could disagree all you want. But if people knew this information, I guarantee you they would do that more than what they're doing today. And that's just what it is. So I'm here again to open it up and enlighten you. I'm not here to go back and forth with nobody and disagree with you. Section 8 pays by your income, not truly 95%, not being ugly. My friends, some pay most, maybe like $100 or $80 and so on. Okay, Tasha speaks. So you're saying Section 8 is by your income. And then Dwayne says city, county, and state. True, exactly. So even if Section 8 was by your income, right? So like I said, regardless, if you had the income or you had assistance, Section 8 still has a program. That's what I'm saying. However much they gonna pay. All right. However much they gonna pay. They still have a program that allows you to get into a actual mortgage versus just renting, right? So the whole point is to own something. The problem is not enough Black Americans actually own anything. Our home ownership rate has decreased over the last 30 years, whereas every other race has increased over the last 30 years. We're the only one that is consistently declining. And that's another reason why I'm having this conversation tonight. Because again, there's a lack of understanding, there's a lack of information, right? Or there's a lack of knowing and understanding and really needing to know where we live. We live in America. So y'all have to understand the American system that is in place. So in order for you to beat the system, you have to know the system. You have to know the strategies. You have to know how to maneuver and how to move, right? It can't just be, oh, I'm just living my best life and buying whatever I want to buy. No, because America is a system. So you either going to play the game or eventually you're going to get tossed around in it. And this time right now, we're seeing a lot of people being tossed around because people are on here complaining about losing jobs. People are on here complaining about housing, right? And so this is what I'm talking about. If you knew this type of stuff, or you are learning this type of stuff now, you will know how to be able to set yourself up where you're not sitting out in the cold. Because when you're renting, you own nothing. If your landlord want to go up, if your rent is $1,000 and your landlord want to go up to $2,000, that's their prerogative. Guess what? You got to move and find another spot. But if you actually sat here and listened to what I was saying, and you said, wow, it may really make more sense for me to go and talk to a mortgage rep, for a mortgage lender. Because the same amount of money that I'm paying for rent, I could be paying for a mortgage on a property that now I'm building equity to own. All right. And it's the same way with anything else. If something happened or you didn't want to deal with it anymore, you can sell that property. Now, that mortgage payment, that money that you've been paying, because people always say this, oh, well, technically, you don't own your house either until it's paid for. Technically, true. Let's say that, right? But also, you don't own that apartment that you're renting. You don't own that apartment at all. You have no equity in that. The difference with your mortgage is at least every payment that you make, it goes towards equity of that property. So I would rather own a property and pay my $1,500 to a mortgage that's in my name or my company's name than paying rent to somebody for 15 to 20 years and I never owned nothing. I don't have no equity in this spot. At least after 10 years, if I had a mortgage and I was paying on my property, now right? After 10 years, maybe I want to sell the property. Maybe I got the 3-unit building for $200,000. And maybe 10 years later, now that property is worth $400,000. Because this is really how property works. I don't know anybody who's bought a house and it's decreased. Normally, when you buy property, it increases. I just gave you my example. I bought my family house in 2020. It was worth $100,000. Last year, it went all the way up to like $235,000. Maybe at the beginning of this year, I checked. I haven't checked recently to see what the value is. But the property was worth like $199,000. So if I wanted to sell that property today, I could get minimum $199,000 for it. You see the difference? But if I was renting these last 5 years, I have no equity, nothing. So I need y'all to understand that, because it's a big difference from ownership and renting, right? So you still winning with a mortgage. Even if you don't necessarily own it until it's paid off, you're still winning with a mortgage because you are putting equity. Every payment that you get goes towards your equity in that property. That's the difference. And then again, you're able to sell that property even if you don't hold it long. My uncle bought a property in Inglewood and he financed it. I think he had to put like $2,000 down. He maybe kept it for like 8 months. He didn't even keep it that long. He made $20,000 on that sale. He kept it for 8 months. He made $20,000 for whenever he bought the property. So whenever the 8 months later he sold it, it had $20,000 in equity. It had $20,000 in equity. What is this? Asking me about gestures, right? So this is what I'm saying. Like it's a whole other type of mindset that I need y'all to open up to and understand that's out here. And thanks for saying that, Tasha, because I don't know nothing about Section 8 and none of that. I know that it's a program. I've never been on it, so I don't know what it entails. I know here, and I know it's different in certain states too, and it's different programs. The Section 8 is low income. It's, you know, it's all different types of housing programs. So I know at one time it was something that was talking about paying 90%. So that's where I got that from. Now, do you all have any questions? Anything you want to add while I'm on here? But if you're just coming on here, the whole point of me doing the live and even saying the live was because, like I said, I saw a post a couple of months ago. This was in July about JAYZ and Beyonce pulling out $58 million of their property, right, that they had in LA. And people were online, you know, talking smack. And again, that's poor folks' mindset that do that. Poor folks were online talking smack about, oh, you know, this and that, but not understanding the whole concept. They just pulled out $58 million tax-free. They just pulled out $58 million tax-free. Because that's the other difference when you do real estate and you do home equity lines of credit and home equity loans. It's tax-free money. You don't pay no taxes on that money. When I pull this $100,000 out my property, it's gonna be tax-free money. Tax-free money. Tax-free 100 bands. That's what you want. You want to know and understand stuff like that. You get what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. When I went to the comments, I was like, oh, straight poor folks mindset. Laughing and giggling and joking, you know, how are you laughing at two billionaires? Because if JAYZ a billionaire, then Beyonce one too. Okay. How you laughing at two billionaires, not understanding the concept? They actually just did a great thing. They did what the wealthy do because they understood. right? You get that property, hold on to that property, pull that equity out that property. That 58 million, they done turned that 58 million into 200 million easy by now. They pulled that money out in July. It's September. Baby, they done flipped that 58 million 4 or 5 different ways. I guarantee you that. That's how the wealthy think. That's how you grow. That's how you build. And you can do the exact same thing. You're just doing it on a smaller scale until you reach those type of properties that will be in the millions. But you can buy $100,000 property today. And if the equity go up in 10 years to 500,000, guess what? You got $400,000 in equity that you could pull out tax free. And again, when you pull a home equity loan out, you can do what you want to do with the money. People think, oh, I have to spend the money on the home. No, you don't. Back in the day when I was in banking, I had clients that would call and pull a home equity out of their house to pay for their kids' college education. A lot of parents was paying for their kids' college tuition through that home equity of their house. A lot of grandmamas, let's be clear, a lot of grandmamas in the hood put their house up for that grandson that got locked up. That's how your grandmama put that money on your books. She put that money on your books and she got that attorney for you because she put her house up. I did several loan applications over the years for young grandmamas who was helping their grandson. Okay? That's how that happened. So be glad grandma had a house. And this is why I be telling y'all, don't sell grandma's house. I'm going to get shirts made tomorrow. I'm going to the swap meet and get my shirts picked up tomorrow for my shirts that say don't sell grandma's house. But this is another reason why I'm always on here telling y'all don't sell grandma's house. Again, real estate is equity. It's valuable. And if you don't have the money to buy real estate, then land. Land is valuable. But we have to be having these conversations, okay? You have to. Because if you're not paying attention to how the economy is and how things are moving right now in 2025, and you are not devising a game plan, an action plan, you're not sitting in front of people like me who is a tax and business strategist, who knows the tax laws in and out, who knows the business laws in and out, then you're not going to be winning. A lot of you all are going to be hurting. And I said this to you 4 years ago when all that PPP mess happened, and a lot of you didn't listen. Everything that's happening right now, I said 3 and 4 years ago. Every single thing that's happening right now. Everything. So if you're not paying attention, that's going to be on you. Nobody going to be here to feel sorry for you, because no one's here to save you. I need y'all to know and understand that. Because this system is not here to teach you this. The system is made for you to buy a house, buy a car, and be struggling. How a lot of people are. A lot of people are house poor. Because you weren't taught that. You didn't need that house. You needed a building. Because the building will pay for the house. Get you a building first. Get you a couple of them. Okay? Then go get that house that you want. With those high ceilings, because you forget, y'all have to fill up them high ceilings. That AC, you got to put AC up in there. So you see these beautiful 5,000 square foot houses, and oh, I want that. But then you forgot you got 18-foot ceilings. Then you get up in there, because remember, I'm in financial services. So I see how people living, how they struggling to pay their bills in these beautiful big houses. But that's what they forget. Oh, you wanted 18-foot ceilings. And you forget you got to fill up that 18-foot ceiling with heat, with AC in the summertime. So now your ComEd bill is not $100, baby. Your ComEd bill may be $500 a month. All right. You got to fill up that house. Okay. So you need to be thinking, how am I making money? What type of investment can I make that's going to pay for the lifestyle that I want? My business pays for the lifestyle that I want. My investments pay for the lifestyle that I want. If your 9 to 5 is the only thing that's paying for your lifestyle, you're not winning. You're who I'm talking to. Thank you, Cherie Jackson. Love you right back, baby. Right? You're not winning. You're stuck in the American cycle like everybody else. And this is why the average American is in debt. This is why the average American is struggling right now. This is why the average American does not have a savings account or an emergency fund, because you were taught the wrong way. The system put you in the matrix and no one showed you different. And I'm on here tonight on this September 12th, Friday night at 11 p.m. Ashe, ashe. Ashe, ashe. 11 p.m. Come on here with the confirmation, the Most High. Always sending me them angel numbers when I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Ashe, ashe. It's 11. It's been a while since I've been on here on the open private community with y'all. I've been in community. I've been in my paid private group in community. But God has been telling me to get back out here to speak back to the community that some of y'all are ready to listen and learn again. So we are on here on this Friday night, and every single day, almost every hour, I see angel numbers. So let's roll. Do you have any questions, concerns? If you're just joining, and I can give you a little brief summary, but do you have any questions or concerns? Tonight is Finance Friday. We are talking about assets. We're talking about real estate. We're talking about building real wealth. We're talking about your home is not an asset. We're talking about your car is not an asset. Okay. And then I'm breaking that down. Tasha, you say, sorry for the confusion. They pay most of their rent due to what they make. Sorry. Okay. I figured, Tasha, once I was reading it, I had to comprehend it a little bit, but I figured that's what you were saying, that it's basically income based. And I get that. I understand that. Right. So that makes sense. I just wanted to say, no matter what your income is, when you on that Section 8 program, they have a housing program. And a lot of people are not aware of that. A lot of people are not familiar with that. So that I definitely wanted to put out there, because I feel like if we have men or women, right? But I think more women we see on the Section 8 or the low income. If we have more young ladies that knew and understand that, then we can help prepare them in the long run, right? Because my biggest issue with our community is seeing the generations on link in Section 8 and low income, right? 4 or 5 generations. You got your mama, your daddy, your grandmama, but nobody owned nothing, right? So you didn't pay rent for 4 and 5 generations to somebody, and we didn't own nothing. That don't even make sense to me, right? So it's like now with having these different programs, if you have a program with Section 8 that you can actually go and get a mortgage, I'm telling you all, it is very beneficial for you to do that. It is very beneficial for you to go and get a mortgage instead of renting from someone for your entire life, and then your daughter's entire life, and then your granddaughter's entire life. So you've passed down no generational wealth, right? The whole point of being on this earth is to leave something for the next, right? My grandparents set us up. They left us a little money. They left us a little trust fund. They empowered me. They encouraged me. So that way I can do the same, right? That's what we're supposed to be doing. It's not supposed to be a stagnant cycle of, just nothing generating for years and years and years. That makes no sense. All right, Tasha, you have a question. You said, I have a HYSA, so a health savings account. I want to invest on a brokerage account. I'm not sure which one or if I should do S&P, index funds, or what. Basically, I want to invest and I'm a late starter in my 40s. Well, Tasha, I just want to let you know, come on in to What School Won't Teach You, baby. Come on in to What School Won't Teach You, because we'll be going over that. We'll be going over that. I personally have accounts with Fidelity, but I'm just going to drop two out here for you. You can do Fidelity or you could do Charles Schwab. But in What School Won't Teach You, actually next month, we're doing that. I'm actually walking you through how to open up your Fidelity account, how to open up your brokerage account, and then which S&P 500 index accounts you could start with. So if you want to learn that, and my group is only $39 a month. I'm not even busting you over the head with it. So if you want to get in What School Won't Teach You, I think you should, because that's one of the topics that we're going over in this fourth quarter. So fourth quarter, I'm real big with showing you all ways to flip your money, basically. But you're on the right track. That's a great question, Tasha. And you definitely should have a brokerage account outside of your employer. So I'm glad she said that, because any of you all who are only paying into your 401k, and let's be clear, 99% of y'all don't even really know what your 401k portfolio is. If you do, great. Making me wrong on here. But majority of you all don't even know what is in your 401k portfolio. And then what the false sense is, oh, well, I have my retirement with my job. God forbid you lose your job at 60. Then what? Because this happened. I have clients that it's happened to. Lost their job at 60, 58, 57, right before that 59 and a half when you're supposed to retire. These corporations don't care about you. They will cut you off. And guess what? The moment they fire you, that retirement account goes away with it. You don't walk away with it. You don't walk away with that retirement account. And that's what people don't really know and understand, because they think that's that false narrative. That's that false security that they're giving you. Like, oh, you got your retirement account. Well, guess what? That retirement account's in when that job ends. When you lose that job, that retirement account don't go with you unless you're working for like the city or the county or something like that. And that's because they have pension. Pension and retirement account are two different things. Remember that. Okay, pension and retirement 401k is different. That 401k goes away if they fire you and that job is gone. So now at 60, you trying to figure out how you're going to pay your bills, how you're going to live and survive because you don't have that retirement. Right? So that's a great question, Tasha. I'm glad you asked that. And just because you're in your late 40s, that doesn't mean anything. You can still invest. I'm 44. So, and I really haven't really started investing into my retirement account until this last year. I'm be honest, right? I've been saving. I got emergency fund, savings fund, but I really wasn't putting up into my retirement account like that. But I have a solo 401k because as an entrepreneur, we can put almost $70,000 up a year. See, y'all, again, this is the difference when you learn the system, right? Your employer, your job, y'all can only put up like almost 7,000 into your retirement account annually. But me being self-employed, I can put up to almost 70,000. Big difference, right? So if I made 100 bands this year, I could filter $70,000 right into my 401k, and that's tax-free. I don't pay no taxes on it. It just goes straight into my 401k, right? So we get a way bigger deduction. We get a way bigger contribution into our 401k versus those of you all who work a 9 to 5. You're capped at how much you could put into your retirement. And again, that should be a question. Why I got to be capped? right? These are some questions that we don't ask. That's because systems are in place and we just thinking like, oh, it's a part of the system. No one ever questions the system. See, I'm a questioner. I don't just follow the rules. I'm a questioner. Why are we doing this? Why am I only limited to $7,000? That don't even make sense to me, right? So this is another reason why I got in taxes. Because what people don't understand, taxes is what runs this country. Business taxes, let's be clear, business taxes is what runs this country, not personal. Y'all don't really have much personal taxes. You don't get many personal write-offs and deductions either, right? And this is why business owners are winning. This is why everybody was mad at Trump and them for making that big, beautiful bill that they call it, right? A lot of that bill was for business owners. And this is why I'm telling y'all, start a business. Don't get mad. Learn the system. That's it. I'm not on here mad or complaining about nothing. I'm going to learn what these white men doing, and I'm going to learn the system, and that's what it is. I'm going to learn to maneuver and build and do things and take tax write-offs and deductions just like they're doing. I ain't going to sit on here and complain all day about it. What? What's the old saying? I don't even remember. All I remember is what's the old saying, right? If you can't win them, if you can't beat them, join them. And in this case, America, you're not going to beat the 1 to 10%. You're not. It's because they're the ones who built the system. So you're going to either tap in and get in line and learn what the 1 to 10% are doing, or you're going to get on here and complain and cry all day on social media like the regular average American does, right? And that's just what it is. So great question, Tasha. Any more? Do we have any more? I've been on here 1 hour now. So I think I'm going to get off of here within the next 10 to 15 minutes, especially if we don't have any other questions. So hopefully you learned something tonight in my TED Talk. It's not hopefully. I know I gave you some game. It's a matter of, did you hear it? Not hopefully did you learn something. I dropped you some hella gems on here tonight. And a matter is, did you learn something? Did you take it in? Did your mind click with any of the stuff that I was saying? Let me rephrase that, because I ain't no hoping about it. I know what I gave you on here. Did you receive it? Did you pick them coins up? Tasha, let me put my community in here for you too. So if you want to join What School Won't Teach You, we do have open enrollment right now. And we will be going over that. Teaching you how to set up your Fidelity account. I'm going to show you how to do Fidelity because that's the one that I use. But you could use Fidelity, Charles Schwab, E-Trade, whatever you're comfortable with is what I tell people. But I like Fidelity. Their fees are not high. Their fees are lower than some of the other ones. So again, with me being in accounting, taxes, I pay attention to that. So I'm big on fees. I'm not trying to pay nobody. So, and then when you have your own brokerage account, because you have a self brokerage account, so you can have a self-managing account, or of course you can have them manage it, but it's going to cost a lot more money if they manage it. So you can actually manage your own brokerage account. You just need to fund it. And then you need to know the ETFs to buy. And so we'll be going over that as well, what ETFs to get with the S&P 500, but you're definitely on the right track, because as long as you're thinking about the S&P 500, then you're winning, Tasha. Winning, proud of you. Okay, so you already knew what to look at. S&P 500. It is different tickers, so I understand. Like you said, you don't know which ones to choose out of the S&P 500, but we definitely will be going over that. And we actually relaunched the last week of September. So get on in, community. I was trying to find this link because I forgot what my assistant put it as. If she put it in as inner circle or if she put it as squad. I think it's inner circle. No, that's solo the squad. So what's the school won't teach you one? I'm gonna put my main link on here for you, Tasha, and then tomorrow click on it, or later on tonight, and I'll update it with the what school won't teach you link. Because for some reason I can't think of what my assistant named it. It's not Inner Circle. We changed the name from Inner Circle. Okay. All right. Looks like I got everything. All right. Were you able to get it? Do you see it? Mm-mm-mm-mm. All right. So tomorrow when I come on, I will come on about 10 a.m. in the morning. Around 10 a.m. because I got a call at 9 a.m. So I'll come on around 10 a.m. in the morning for Big Business Saturday. So Big Business Saturday, I'll be going over a business topic for those of you all who are entrepreneurs. Then I also want to leave you with this. If, again, you live in the United States of America, all right, you have to think about having or starting a small business. And it could be a small home-based business. Okay. Tomorrow, I'm going to go more in depth with that as far as why you want to do something like that. But again, I have already said to you several times on here, if you live in the United States of America, America is a capitalistic, is capitalism. All right. Capitalism means everything runs and is earned on money. Okay. The same way we say money is the root of all evil and all of that. Yes. But also you need money to live and survive in America. Okay. So you have to learn how America is structured. And America is structured on business. All of the best business laws, tax laws, loopholes, everything is under business. It's not under personal, it's not under personal, right? W-2 wage earners and self-employed pay the most taxes in this country. Okay. W-2 wage earners, which is how most of America is, right? 1099 self-employed pay the most taxes in this country. All right. Y'all pay more taxes than I pay as a business owner. It's a reason for that. All right. So I need you to know and understand that. So I'll go more in depth into that tomorrow for Big Business Saturday. Tonight was Finance Friday. So with Finance Friday, the topic was, for those of you, just to give you a little recap, we was talking about real estate, right? And how Jay-Z and Beyonce pulled out $57 million, $57.7 million out of their Belair home, California Belair home, and how that is actually tax-free to them. They did not pay $1 in taxes on that $58 million that they pulled out of that property, right? And so when we're thinking and we're talking about numbers on here, don't get caught up in the numbers. I want you to get caught up in the concept of what I'm explaining to you, right? Just because they got $58 million, that may be a little above where you are right now, right? Because, of course, most of us, even myself, we're not buying an $88 million home. But the concept is the same. If you bought a $200,000 building, all right, or a $200,000 home, and you held it for 10 years like they did, it could be worth double or triple. Just depends. Like that young lady said, on the area. That's the whole point of doing research. We're not just randomly buying houses, right? You want to look at the area that you're buying the house. You want to look at the property values. You want to look at all of that. All of that's part of your research, right? But again, even if you're in the hood, let's be clear. Even if you're in the hood, whatever property you buy today, 9 times out of 10 is still going to grow in equity, right? Because guess what? Everybody in the hood renting. So somebody owns these buildings. Somebody owns these houses. They still worth something, right? And so that's what I need you to think about. $100,000 house could turn into a $300,000 house. A $300,000 house could turn into $1 million property, depending on your area, depending on the growth of that area. I live in Chicago. South Shore and Inglewood is being built the heck up right now. I grew up in South Shore. That's why I'm buying houses and property back in South Shore, because South Shore is up and coming. The property that I own in South Shore, the 2 properties that I own in South Shore, if I hold them these next 5 years, those properties will definitely well be worth 3 to 4 times what I paid for them. That's the difference. Like the young lady said, you have to pay attention to the area, but also pay attention to what's up and coming. Are they building in your area? Are new stores coming up? Are storefronts starting to be built up? Are they starting to have for sale and for rent signs? Pay attention to your neighborhood, to your community. Because when that starts happening, that means that it's about to be a boom. That means it's about to be a cash cow, a cash flow coming in. And guess what? People come into our neighborhoods, into our communities, and buy these properties that don't look like us. And that's why I'm on this whole kick. Don't sell grandma's house. Don't sell your people's house. Keep the property. Understand the value of it. All right. Yes, I was in the other community years ago. Thanks. Okay. Well, yep. Now we back in community. We back and we better. All right. So, yep. Come on in. I think I saw your text message, so I'll respond to it once I log off of here, which I'm getting ready to get off of here right now. All right. All right, Latasha. Oh, you on both of them? You on both you on YouTube and TikTok? I mean Facebook. Because I just saw your name pop up. Okay. All right. I'm out. I'll see y'all in the morning.